Whether you're a junior developer just getting started or a seasoned coder with years of experience, there's one thing that can set you apart, and that's understanding software architecture. Now, I know what you might be thinking, architecture is something that the architects need to worry about, not me. But software development is not like physical development. In reality, architecture informs everything that you do, how performant and scalable your code is, as well as how easy it is to maintain. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 4 key aspects of software architecture that you can keep in mind as you're working on your current project or getting ready to start a new one. Whether you realize this or not, these aspects impact every line of code you write, and understanding them will help you make better decisions and build better software. First up, we have architectural characteristics. These are the characteristics that are either implicit or explicit on the system that you're building. Sometimes it's referred to as the zoo of abilities: scalability, maintainability, accessibility, and others. None of these are wrong or bad or not great to have in our system. But by understanding which of these abilities are important for your system, both explicitly, because you're banking and you need to be highly available, or implicitly, we need to be scalable as we grow customers, we need to make a decision about which of these abilities, which of these characteristics are critical for your application to perform. They're all important in some aspect, but only a few of them can be critical. We talk a lot about priorities now. In the past, when people talked about a priority, it was a singular thing that they talked about. My priority is to be a good software developer, and that was the key focus. We now have competing priorities from different stakeholders. But in order to architect a coherent system, we do need to make a decision about which characteristics, which abilities are critical for us. As such, developers should always be aware of the key characteristics, and that should help them make better decisions. If I have to make choices as a developer, knowing that availability is a key characteristic is going to allow me to make sure I make the right choice. If number 1 is being aware of the characteristics that make up our system, both implicit and explicit, number 2 is to be aware that we do need to make decisions. In software architecture, everything is a trade-off. In order to make something more scalable, I might have to lose performance somewhere or some availability. I need to make decisions to be able to move forward. Being able to understand and track decisions that have been made is going to make sure that in the future, I'm not going to repeat myself or contradict the inherent building blocks of the software that I'm building. It's important that we document why we've made particular decisions. What was the thinking behind it? So that when we question those decisions in the future, if we're at the company or not, there's more context to be held there. So be aware of the characteristics of our systems and be aware that we make decisions. And as we make decisions, keep track of why we've made the decisions. The why is more important than the how. So we've thought about the characteristics of our system. We've thought about the decisions and the trade-offs that we have to make. Now we think about the components that make up our systems, the logical components. Discovering the logical components doesn't necessarily mean that we're deciding on the database type or even the programming language, but does mean that we're understanding the roles and responsibilities of different aspects of our system. There are a number of approaches to expose these building blocks. Workflows, thinking about users doing something from start to end and the different aspects of our system they'll need to interact with. Actions and actors, I want to do something, which part of my software is going to be able to do it? And then trying to work out, given this, is there any aspect of our software that has too much responsibility or too little? This is where we start thinking about coupling and decoupling, but it also allows us as developers to know how our piece of the puzzle fits into the whole. How does the logical component that we're working on contribute to the workflows that our users are carrying out? Rather than mindlessly working through Jira tickets, we can instead be really conscious that this is contributing in this way for this kind of user, and this is the right direction that we're moving in. We understand the abilities and the software we're building. We understand the components that we need to make our software work. Now we need to build it. And this is where architectural styles come into effect. Now, there are so many of these, so many. And part of the job of a growing developer is not only to be aware of different architectures and learning about them as you go, but understanding the pros and cons of them. Microservices are not the solution to every problem. Using queues isn't necessarily always right. Having micro front ends or monolithic architectures, all of these can be the right solution to the problem that you're facing. Understanding the characteristics, the logical components, the why of making decisions can help you choose the correct style. But as growing and maturing developers, we grow more awareness of the architectural styles that are available and make decisions to say, yes, this is right, rather than leaning into resume-driven development where we seek to just do the new thing because it's cool. We can instead make decisions that are best for our users and coherent with the system that we're building. So as developers, we should engage in architectural decision making and understand the why of the particular style that's being deployed. And as architects, we should bring developers into those conversations, seek their opinions, understand what they're seeing on the ground, and help them understand our decision-making processes. All software developers have a stake in architecture. Understanding characteristics, decisions, components, and styles will make you better equipped to write more scalable, performant, and maintainable code. More of those implicit characteristics that we want. Don't leave architecture to those mysterious architects, but actively seek to understand and engage. If you're building a project on your own, think about what architectural practices you want to try out and why. If you're working in a bigger team, try to understand the architectural decisions that have been made. If they haven't been tracked, maybe start tracking them yourself. And if you are an aspiring architect, make sure that you don't just close yourself away in your ivory tower and pass down your edicts from on high to the developers. Instead, include them, help them understand the decisions, because helping developers understand the why is going to help make sure that your architecture becomes a reality rather than a very interesting textbook exercise.